Welcome to Ed Fluential Sports, where passion meets precision. As I'm your host, Ed, diving deep into the plays, players, and stories shaping the game. This is Sports Fanatic Forum, episode 25. First time ringing it on TikTok. So, doing the pun. Well, I might have before, I don't remember. But doing this pun, and I'm going to be doing more podcast episodes on YouTube and TikTok. I know it'll get a few views on YouTube. Maybe a few people on TikTok will come through as well. We'll see. But let's get straight into it with Zip's update. The Akron's men's college, uh, University of Akron, their men's basketball coach is leaving and pursuing a job at Charleston. Great move for Charleston. I really like this move for them. It sucks for Akron. John Gross, he was great. This news was first reported on March 30th. On March 30th, but there was some other stuff that was going on within the sports world, so I wasn't able to get to it once it was initially reported. So now I'm covering that move to talk about it. For Akron's made four of the last five NCAA tournaments. Seven went super far, but they made the tournament. John Gross was a two-time MAC Coach of the Year, so that was great. And in 18 total seasons, he's had 10 of those seasons have been 20-plus win seasons, not just with Akron. He was with Illinois and Ohio, if I'm not mistaken. So around the Midwest area pretty much his entire career. So yeah, he's had some really successful seasons. He's been to the NCAA tournament multiple times, as I mentioned. Charleston, they just went 21-11 this past season, but failed to reach the tournament. So I think picking up John Gross is a really good move because he's done great. Excuse me, with this Akron program. This is his longest tenure, being with Akron 9 years. That's the other two teams he spent the combined 9 years with. So I think this is a great move for Charleston. Like I said, they had the team, they got the talent. They've been able to put together a few solid seasons this year. They were good. Like I said, they were good, weren't good enough to make the tournament. So I'm going to see if I can find their record from previous years because they were, yeah, I can. Because this year they were 21-11. Uh, last season they were 24-9, so they were better last season, ironically. Then the year before that they got to the tournament. Yeah, they got to the tournament. They finished 27-7. So it seems like each season over the last 3 years stuff seemed to get worse. So it is something that they need to improve. So I think getting John Gross is a really good move. Them because I'm looking at this. They had a crazy win streak they went on. Now I know their schedule wasn't the craziest, but they didn't. When they played Alabama in the 2024 postseason in March Madness, they only lost by 13, and it was a high scoring game. They lost 109-96 in the first round. So they went to the tournament 2 years ago. They've been had some 20-plus win seasons the last 2 years, but it just hasn't resulted in any success into getting into the tournament. And with John Gross, he's shown he can get teams to the tournament. He did it before in Ohio, in Illinois, and now with the Akron program, he was with guys like Tavari Johnson, the Money Wiles, guys like that playing well, Shemai Scott. So we know he can develop talent. John Gross is a really good coach. So I think him going to Charleston, that's a great move. But then it comes down to who replaces him. Uh, no idea. Because I know Akron, they're going to be searching for a new head coach. So I'm not sure who replaces him, to be quite honest, as the head coach. Maybe, hopefully one of the assistants. I think that would be nice. Somebody that already knows the program. Obviously, you got a lot of seniors leaving. Had a lot of seniors this year. So it does suck for Akron that they're losing their men's basketball team is losing their head coach. And then obviously for the women, one of their players transferred, who was a really good three-point shooter for the basketball team. So, but I think this program still has the talent. Um, it's going to be interesting to see who replaces him, but I do think it should be one of the assistants because I think when you got a program, I mean, you got multiple seniors that left too, so you went with somebody new. It wouldn't be a bad idea to go in a new direction. But I think one of the assistants or somebody that's been in that coaching staff the last few years will be a good replacement. Maybe they probably won't replicate what John Gross was able to do, but they can give you they can give you something. Like it wouldn't be crazy, but like it wouldn't be an improvement probably. Like it might be a down year next year, but I think with some development, a few more years, you can get a younger coach that can really do something with this team. So we'll see what happens, but great move for Charleston. Can't hate on it. Now to talk about the main topic for today, the PBA, the Professional Bowling Association, had two events this weekend, which is goes furthermore into why it was a wild weekend because it's usually just one event, but not just because it's two events doesn't mean that they're both great. But both events were pretty entertaining. Both events were enjoyable. So the first thing you had was the PBA, what's the World versus USA matchup, which we've been covering on the channel, talking about the games leading up to that. So the PBA, and this is something they do every year. Um, they've been doing for a little minute now, where you have some of the best stars from around the world in professional bowling. Well, obviously they're all in the PBA, but like how they did the World versus USA thing for the NBA, similar to that. So you got the best American-born bowlers, some of them taking on the best international-born bowlers that are in the PBA. So you had it was two team matchups where all four guys went against each other, one doubles matchup and one singles matchup. So a team world featured Jason Belmonte, Jesper Severson, Don Barnett, and Graham Five. As Team USA featured EJ Tackett, Andrew Anderson, Ethan Fourier, and Anthony Simonson. And Ethan Fourier is the youngest bowler, if I'm not mistaken, out of these eight. So yeah, the first match was EJ Tackett representing USA taking on Jason Belmonte representing the world. This was a really good matchup, close, not a lot of open frames. So they got both guys had a decent amount of strikes, and it came down to EJ Tackett. He needed two strikes to win the game. If he got two strikes, he would have won and would have gave USA their first point of the game because it did came down to one more, and he wasn't able to do that. He got a 9 pin and ended up losing 268, 258. So it was EJ was in the other event too, and it was a rough weekend for EJ Tackett. So yeah, EJ Tackett didn't do. He was really close. Like EJ Tackett is great. I do enjoy him, but it's sometimes where he does he does choke sometimes, and this was another example of him choking. So that was a really crucial moment. You needed that. You needed two strikes. Only got 9 pins. I don't know if it was a bad because the roll looked solid. The curve looked good. So just to look at a pin, I guess. But Jason Belmonte won 268 to 258. So, like I said, it wasn't many open frames by either guy. So that's what it came down to in that first matchup. The second one, you got the doubles match. You got Anthony Simonson and Ethan Fourier representing Team USA to take on Jesper Severson and Graham Five. Another, this one was close as well, but it was a few more open frames than the previous matchup, which makes sense because with a doubles matchup and even the team matchups, the scores were slower than that singles match because you're relying on other people as well so that control your momentum. You're not going back to back to back, so it's less pressure on you and more pressure on your teammates. So it's still pressure on you to win and get the strikes, but a few open frames. Came down to Graham Five needing three strikes to get the win. Um, but he actually before it came down to that, Graham Five and Jesper Seeps, and they led by 15 after the first 5 frames. So they were in control. They did have control of that matchup, but they lost it due to a few open frames. Then you had then it came down to Anthony Simonson and Ethan Fourier clutching up late to take the lead, and then that's what led to Graham Five needing three strikes to get the win. Wasn't able to. Got 9 pins, which is what cost them. So then so Anthony Simonson and Ethan Fourier won 220 to 210. So now USA tied it. Now they're 1 point apiece with USA doing that. Uh, and each match was 1 point. If I'm no, the first three matchups were 1 point. Then the last matchup was two. So, but that tied it for USA. So they still had a chance. It was still a glimmer, so not even a glimmer of hope. It was like this is really huge because now it's 1-1. The world won the singles, the USA won the doubles. So now it comes down to what's going to happen following that in the next matchups. So then you get to the first team matchup and Team War. Team World won both matchups. The they won both team matchups. They won the first one 235 to 202, especially with them. The score being as low as it was wasn't surprising because, like I said, you're relying on other people. So then it comes down to what the other people are going to do. Can they strike? Can they not leave open frames? Can they do this and that, etc.? So Team World ended up winning that one 235 to 202. Then the second matchup was a lot closer, but Team World still ended up winning 244 to 235. And World won with an overall score of 957 to 912 when you combine all the scores. And this is Team World's three-peat. They won this matchup versus Team USA 3 straight times. So very impressive. Team the world has the best bowlers are from around the world, and hey, it's nothing wrong with that. That's where a lot of the top athletes come from. USA still did their thing. It's still a lot of top athletes in the USA, but a Team World, I think it just came down to them being more experienced. You got, I forget who I predicted to win, but yeah, Team World, I think the experience factor showed in this, how well they were able to bounce back, how well they were able to play together. So I think the experience definitely played a factor in this. Like I said, Ethan Fourier, he's one of the younger bowlers in the PBA at this point, so he's still improving. So nothing wrong. He didn't play amazing, but he played well enough for them to keep USA in it early to get them that doubles win. So I do have to give credit there, but I do think obviously anybody on USA could have played better. EJ Tackett, he wasn't able to clutch up when it was needed most. But Team World got hella experience on their team through Jason Belmonte to Jesper Stevenson, who was in the PBA playoffs last year and went as the seventh seed and won it all. Don Barnett, I think he's young as well, but him and Ethan might be around the same age. Round five, seeing him get some impressive wins. So those that was great. Like I said, it came down to Team World winning, and they won 3 of the 4 matchups that they had. So I thought it would have been interesting if both of them could have won 2 matchups to see how that would have panned out. But Team World, it came down to the experience. The more experienced team got the win this year, and Team World three-peats. So you got to give them credit for that. And then you got the PBA Ohio Classic, which was the next day. So ironic because I'm in Ohio right now. Didn't realize that it was this weekend. So, but yeah, the PBA, I probably wouldn't have had the money to go to it though, because I don't know how expensive tickets, Uber, all that. So it was better watching it from the comfort of my dorm. So that's cool with me. But back to EJ Tackett. Back to EJ Tackett. A first matchup for the PBA Ohio Classic is Chris Vi taking on EJ Tackett. This was a shock because usually I feel like they're a bit higher, like they're in the second or third matchup. But they won the first matchup this time. EJ Tackett just had a rough weekend in the Team USA game, not doing enough to get the win for Team USA. And then this was a close. This wasn't super close. It wasn't a crazy blowout either. It wasn't like it was a super big deficit either. But Chris Vi, he had the early advantage. It was close early on, back and forth. But EJ Tackett, I forget which frame it was, but it was super early. He had a 9 pin, so he left one. He did get the spare, but a 9 pin that early, especially when he had that 9 pin, it's like you got to have that. If that 9 pin comes at the very beginning of the game, then okay, you can accept it. But it came in like a third or fourth frame. So no, it's like that was really crucial. It ended up costing him because he never really recovered from that 9 pin spare that he had, and Chris Vi ended up winning 290 to 248. So another loss for EJ Tackett. Team USA lost what he was a part of, and one of those matches was a singles match. So he lost three. He lost 2 team matches and 2 singles matches in the same weekend. So a rough weekend for EJ Tackett, which EJ, you might be going on ice. Yeah, EJ Tackett is definitely going on the ice cold segment for Thursday. Yeah, yeah. Only 4-1 weekend. That's nasty. You're going on the ice cold segment, and I'm gonna expand further on EJ Tackett because might even have to go back and watch some of EJ Tackett in these last few matchups because man, I really rock with EJ Tackett, but I don't know what's going on. All right, then the next matchup, no, this is a guy who's the next matchup, Spencer Robarge. He took on Chris Vi, who had won the previous matchup. Chris Vi lost this game by leaving multiple open frames. Chris Vi had a really good chance to win it, but too many open frames, especially late. It was late. He could have won it with two strikes and a spare, I think, or in the ninth frame. It was something like either ninth or tenth frame, but he he only lost by 18, but leaving multiple open frames throughout the game, which they both did. But Chris Vile left more open frames than Spencer Robards did, and Spencer Robards he was did enough to get the win, 236, 218, and then he advanced to the third match where he'd be taking on Packy Haranen. Who Packy Haranen? He's solid. He's a very solid, but he's not amazing. He's very solid because he left too. He had too many spares. He had and then Spencer O'Barge played much better in game three than he did in game two because he didn't leave. He had more strikes, didn't have as many open frames, didn't have as many non-pins. So this was the best that Spencer had looked all day in the PBA Ohio Classic. But Packy Haranen, he had way too many open frames. He left multiple open. Well, he it was a lot of spares because it was like you got to get those strikes to stay in it. So he had hella spares in this game, especially early. Then he had a couple of open frames later in the game. So that's what it came down to. Oh, open frames, too many strikes. That's what's gonna cost you in these individual matchups. Because at least in a team setting, you got guys to back you up. That's why I say I can't go too hard on EJ Tackett. Because at least in a team setting, it's like you got three or four other guys to back you up at most points. And so if they don't back you up and if you struggle, it's like, oh, we all struggled. We all lost together. But in this matchup, it's on you. It's like, man, you got him. Got to work on that. Can't leave those open frames. Can't have all those spares. That's why you are getting 9 pins, which is still better than most regular bowlers. It's still you had a chance to go to the championship game and weren't able to do it, and lost by the biggest deficit, I think, because EJ lost by 42. The previous matchup was by 18. Then this was 60. Yeah, this matchup was you lost this by 65. Yeah, this was the biggest deficit of the matchups in the weekend because even the other games, it was 10 points, 10 points, 33 points, 9 points. So when you look at all the matchups, all the PBA matchups that took place over the weekend, Packy Haranen had the biggest loss. He was the only one that lost by over 50 because nobody lost by more than 42 up to that point. He lost by 65. So those are pretty embarrassing matchup. I mean, it's still time. It's still plenty of years left. It's only April, so you still got 8 more months of the year to not. Well, no, because PBA season don't go all the way to December. But you still got time. It's like still got plenty of. I think the PBA season ends in August, unless I'm thinking about Leo Cloth. But you still got plenty of time. And then the championship matchup was Spencer Robards versus Ryan Barnes. This was Ryan Barnes' best chance to win a PBA Tour title because he won Rookie of the Year last year, had a good year, was in multiple tournaments, but he didn't win. But he didn't win on one. He had a chance to win his first title because he's had chances, but this was his best chance to win a PBA Tour title as he was the first seed. That all everybody else went before him, so he's waiting for his opponent. So he got plenty of time to warm up, to stretch, to be prepared as he had a really good showing and did enough to earn. Because you get these are qualifying; they have qualifying games to lead up to this. So you won. So you won the most qualifying matches to get here. Well, I think they won around the same to get here, but he won in the quickest amount of time. So because it's best of seven, so he was taking care of business and was able to get the first seed in this. Excuse me, but it still wasn't enough for a win. He kept it. It was close. Spencer O'Barnes played like how he played in the second game, so Ryan Barnes had to match that, and he was able to obviously. And then they're both around the same age. They're both like this is what I was thinking about. They're both around 23. Now Ethan Fourier is young, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't think he is young as Ryan Barnes and Spencer O'Barnes. So this was also close, but Ryan Barnes needed two strikes to get the win. No, he needed two strikes and a 9 pin to win. Got the strike, then he got 8 pins. Needed that strike on the second one, and he wasn't able to get it. So Spencer Robards walks away winning the PBA Ohio Classic. Ryan Barnes, he gonna have plenty of other chances, but up to this point in his career, this was his best chance to win. It don't get no better than being the first seed in a tournament. So He almost won his first PBA Tour title. Maybe next time. Maybe next time. But a great weekend of bowling. All right, we got our hot take of the week. This one, from this hot take coming in from Eugene. Josh Allen is the most coddled quarterback in the NFL. This is a really interesting hot take because I can see the logic behind this one. I'm gonna talk about Josh Allen himself first before I get to whether I agree with the hot take or not. He's regarded as one of the top quarterbacks in the league every season. He's statistically he's amazing. Eye test it pops out. You can see what he's doing, whether it be Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, uh, Ray Davis, or whoever, James Cook, Dalton Kincaid. Like even like Josh Allen compared to some of the other top quarterbacks, he don't have as much as they have receiver wise, but he did have Stephon Diggs at one point, which I think a lot of people do forget. Like while right now he might not have a talented roster as a Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow's had offense, just speaking offensively, because what the defense does, the quarterback cannot control. So just speaking on the offense, he doesn't. He's had. He might not have as much talent as they have, but he has had Stephon Diggs in the past, who was one of the top receivers when he was in Buffalo, and so he can't just overlook that. It's still part of his career. Josh, he's won MVP. Him and Lamar have been in the MVP conversation multiple years in a row. A lot of people think the MVPs that Lamar's second MVP should have been Josh Allen's first, and Josh Allen's first MVP could have been Lamar Jackson's second. It doesn't matter because y'all are saying that they both should be where they're at. You're saying that Lamar should be a two-time MVP, and now it should be a one-time MVP. So I really don't see why it matters. It really don't matter. So yeah, he's MVP, which well deserved. I can understand the logic behind it. He's consistent in the regular season. He gives you good playoff performances. Statistically, like I said, he can throw the ball deep. He can really do it all, and he's a solid runner too. Like I think he's a better runner than what people expected. I said, like, yeah, the rushing yards is there. Might not be the most. Well, he might. This Jalen Hurts might have more based on Jalen Hurts might have more. No, I think Josh Allen got more rushing touchdowns because he's been in the league longer. But when you're talking about some of the best dual threat quarterbacks, he's definitely up there. Him and Lamar, you can argue that because Lamar is a really good passer as well, which people still don't want to credit him for, which is insane to me. But the eye test speaks for itself. Josh Allen, he's a great. He can throw the ball deep. He reads the field well. Um, MVP, like I said, statistically, like everything, he has everything, and he's athletic. He's like 6'5", 6'6", so he's athletic as well, and he does everything he can for that team. Um, he carries himself well in interviews, etc. So, but we have to get to the hot take. Give our take on. We got to give our opinion on the hot take. This isn't a crazy thing to say because a lot of the media members make excuses when Lamar Jackson loses. It's like, okay, overtime with the Chiefs, it's not fair. We changed the overtime rules. Okay, that doesn't seem to matter. It's like you changed the overtime rules because of one situation. The overtime rules still aren't great. It's like I've already talked about why I would change the overtime rules and just make them play the entire overtime. It's like the overtime rules, it is what it is, but you changed it for Josh Allen after he said something or not after he said, but the Bills and the fans they complain about the overtime rules, so they have a chance to get the, or was it the? No, it might have been Mahomes with the Patriots, or was that? No, it was the Bills because they didn't get possession at all. So it's like, oh, this isn't fair, even though the overtime rules had been that way the longest. You can argue the rule was stupid and it should have been changed, but the rule had been that way for the longest, and you ain't see many other people complaining, especially since social media wasn't as popping compared to when that happened. But it's like, man, the overtime rules they get changed for you, you still can't get it done. The year that Damar Hamlin almost passed away, it's oh well, he was in their hearts. It was tough. It's like man, there were weeks past that. It's the playoffs, and you're getting blown out by the Bengals at home. I think so. It's like oh, with Damar Hamlin, like yes, that's an unfortunate situation, but that's no excuse to be getting blown out in the playoffs at home. Like come on now, like that wasn't good. That Joe Burrow, he did his thing. the Bengals, they did their thing. Like a lot of people talk about how Joe Burrow, he barely been in the playoffs. He always hurt when he has been in the playoffs. A Super Bowl appearance, conference championship appearance, beat the Bills at their own home. Burrow, one of the few guys to beat the Patrick Mahomes led Chiefs. Not beat Patrick Mahomes, beat the Patrick Mahomes led Chiefs. Those are two different things because the quarterback can't be the quarterback. But Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they embarrassed the Bills in 2023 in the playoffs. So yeah, as far as Josh Allen, the most coddled quarterback, I can see the logic behind that. Because think about it. Think about what just happened this past year. He had 4 turnovers in a playoff game, and people are talking about, oh, well, what about the referees? Brother, he committed 4 turnovers. It's like, yes, the Broncos' defense is great. It's one of the best defenses in the league. But you're trying to blame the refs for a guy that had 4 turnovers. The refs can't force him to have turnovers. You can't do that. It's like, yes, I get it. The refs, they can be trash at times. It's like sometimes the refs do deserve blame. But if you're committing 4 or 5 turnovers in a playoff game with multiple interceptions, multiple fumbles, even a fumble, it might have been 5 turnovers because he recovered the fumble, so that don't really, so that just counts as a loss of downs and yards. So, it, I, yeah, and that was like right before the half too. It's like you're blaming the referees. You're not keeping your team in this game by committing all those turnovers to keep. Like they still stayed in it because the Broncos' offense wasn't electric. They put up points, but the Broncos. But because of the turnovers, the Broncos were able to stay in it. The defense had to capitalize off that because their offense wasn't something crazy. And then when their offense didn't do anything, they nearly beat the Patriots. So, and they did that with a backup. Now they didn't win, but they were damn close. Man, just imagine if Bo Nix was there. But anyways, I can see the logic behind this. I think, yeah, I agree. I agree with this hot take. I do think Josh Allen's very caught up by the media. Um, 4 turnovers. Oh, let's blame the refs. Overtime rules. Oh, he didn't get the ball. Let's change them. Damar Hamlin died. Not died, but almost passed away. Oh, that's the excuse. Like it seems like it's always something for Josh Allen. Oh, what if he had the roster that Jalen Hurts has? How is that a Jalen Hurts problem? Like y'all always say that to this Jalen Hurts, but it's like, aren't y'all saying every year that the Bills can make the Super Bowl? Ain't y'all saying they're a Super Bowl winning team? If that's the case, why does the narrative change when they don't make the Super Bowl? And it's like that. Oh, well, if he had this, if he had that, that's so stupid and it's hypothetical because we don't know if it would be better. We can't prove that. We don't know. Maybe somebody could get hurt. Maybe something goes wrong. We don't know any of that, which is why using hypotheticals is so stupid. And Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen played differently. And Jalen Hurts has been a product of having different offensive coordinators every year. So what are we talking about? So Josh Allen, I do think it's as good as he is one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. He's consistent throughout the regular season. He is a good playoff performer. The stats are great. The eye test is there. But there is a lot of excuses that will be made for Josh Allen when he doesn't get the job done. It's always something every year. It's always something about why Josh Allen couldn't get it done. And every year it's not on him, but sometimes it's always a way. But the quarterbacks are the most talked about position and the most praised, which I don't think it's fair because they're not the only ones on the field. But as far as quarterback goes, it's always an excuse made for him when the Bills don't win. If it's anybody else, it's not. Maybe no Burrow. He gets excuses too. It's always something for Burrow as well. But if it's Jalen Hurts, if it's Lamar and Patrick Mahomes, you don't even see as many excuses for Patrick Mahomes. It might be to he might get a few, but Patrick Mahomes is usually winning. So yeah, if it's Dak Prescott, don't get me started. If it's Dak, it's going crazy. When it's other guys who haven't been as successful as Dak, but they don't get anything. So yeah, I agree with that hot take. I do think Josh Allen is definitely the most coddled quarterback in the NFL because he gets all the excuses. Like I said, not everything is on the quarterback, but since the quarterback gets the most talked about position, they're going to get the most media coverage, and he's always the one with the most excuses. I think it's him first and Joe Burrow second. I think Josh Allen gets more excuses than Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow has kind of calmed down a bit because he's consistently injured, which is unfortunate. But hey, let's move on to the Raw recap. Last night was a good episode of Raw. I enjoyed it. I give it a 7 out of 10. I ain't have no problems with this episode. I thought it was a good. The way it's, well, some of the stuff I already covered, so check out my shorts I dropped this morning. Speed, he wants to be uncursed, which I thought that was not like in the Danhausen thing, but it is what it is. But anyways, that led to him with the Vision, and the Vision they had to convince him to roll with them. Adam Pearce was like, that's a bad idea, but he couldn't stop him because they was already gone. So then Austin Theory and LA Knight they had a match, which I was entertained by. I thought it was a solid match. And then you got Theory got the win due to Logan pushing Speed into LA Knight. Then the Usos came out there. They tried to do the 1D, wasn't able to do it because the Vision saved Speed. Then LA Knight, he was like, we going to WrestleMania, all six of us in a 6-man tag. I was like, bet. So I expected that. I'm not mad at that. That makes a lot of sense to me. This is cool. I'm rocking with this. I think it'll be a good match. I do think the Usos and LA Knight get the win. Actually, oh, the Vision Tag Champs. Oh, I don't know. That might change things a little bit. We'll be doing predictions and on one of the Thursday before WrestleMania. Yeah, that's gonna be a big predictions episode. I might have to predictions might be 20 minutes for that episode. We gonna see. Excuse me. Yeah. Then you had I might go out of order a little bit. Yeah. Oh, AJ Lee's video package was dope. Actually enjoyed that. And then Becky Lynch interrupting the interview with Michael Cole. That was cool. Because she was like, so then just having Becky and AJ just straight go at it. No punches being thrown, just them talking to each other, having a heated conversation, but allowing them to get their stuff off. I enjoyed that. Becky was like, you quit 11 years ago, the day after WrestleMania, because you seen your replacement. You seen that I was next up. And AJ, she was then she ended it. She was like, at the end of the day, I'm your daughter's favorite wrestler, which you did admit to. So I thought that was good. I thought it was a good back and forth. I do think it was some holes in AJ Lee's promo, but overall it was solid to me. And Becky, she did her thing, cooking Michael Cole, getting him out of there. So straight up sit down conversation, a heated convo at that. But neither one of them interrupted each other, which I think adds to it. Becky would possibly be on a 3-time IC champion. It's kind of stupid to me though. But we'll see what happens. Maybe AJ Lee retains. I would be shocked. But we'll see what happens. I'm just very confused on what's going to happen. You had JD McDonough versus Finn Balor. Well, you were supposed to have JD McDonough versus Finn Balor, which I thought you should have had. It would have made sense to make it a match. But Dominic got involved. He attacked Finn as he was walking down the entrance ramp. Then Dom and JD got the beating on him. Finn did. He was in control for a little bit, but once the chair got involved, it was like, yes, pretty much wraps Finn. He's cooked now. So there was JD and Dom, they was doing their thing attacking Finn. Nobody came out to help him. But it's not like he got any allies, so it's not surprising. But it's like that's why I said they should have played into the Danhausen cursing Dom thing. Because if Danhausen cursed Dom and just why did he just go away? He could have cursed like he cursed Miz, but that's still going on. So I'm confused. Like you could have had Finn and like Finn got to team up with somebody in a tag match to take on Dominic and JD. Maybe he teamed with Ray. Ooh, maybe he do team with Ray since Ray is in the IC title match. So that could be a dope match for next week. But they do got to get in the ring. Like some of these brawls, you already had the promo, you had the brawl. Let's have a match with him and JD. Even if it ends in a DQ, I wouldn't have been mad at that. But not having the match at all, I thought was really stupid because it's mentor versus mentee. Let us have Finn versus JD. Because after Mania, you shouldn't be continuing this feud. So you should have had that one-on-one match last night. You had Bailey defeating Lash Legend in a one-on-one match. This was cool. Charlotte and Alexa did get involved, which I didn't think they have to. It's a non-title match, so why be it? I know they building a story, but why do that? So then that distracts Nia, distracts Lyra. But with that, Lyra she cheated a little bit, so I thought that was cool. She held Lash's foot down, I think, so she couldn't kick out. So then Bailey ended up getting the win, which is a good momentum win. It's still 2 weeks away from WrestleMania, so you're building up the tag division. I don't know what Nikki Bella's status is, so you're still building up the tag division, building up this tag match. I mean, So you're still building up the tag match that's going to happen at WrestleMania, and you're acknowledging that the belts should be cleared, so we know why they're not there. So it's I like what's going on here. It was a good match as well, so I was rocking with that. You had oh, also since I mentioned the Finn stuff already, I'm gonna go back to Finn, then circle to Stephanie, then yeah, Finn Balor. He mentioned how he'd be bringing back the Demon. He basically alluded to it. Then WWE announced it on Instagram. A lot of people wanted it as a surprise, but it is what it is. That's like WWE don't like surprises, and we pretty much knew he was bringing it back. So I guess they didn't want to wait any longer since we already know what's gonna happen. So seeing the demon back is gonna be cool. One, I hope the music is the same. Please don't change it. I guess no need to change its music. So yeah, I like yeah. Excuse. So I like that. I think that's really good that they're bringing the demon back. And Finn has to get the win now. Bring the demon back. There's no way he lose because we haven't seen it since '39. So this is gonna be the first time in 3 years we've seen the demon. So now I can circle to Stephanie's promo. She was backstage. It was really good, I think. And she was like, "You think it's middle school with mom jokes?" I was like, "That's tough," because it's like, why are you making mom jokes? Like, that's kind of. So I did think that was great by Stephanie. Then later in the night, Stephanie, she might have made this spot. Planning this spot is hella stupid. She attacked Liv and Roxanne, and Liv and Roxanne's head bumped each other, and then she threw Liv into the TV screen. So apparently now both of them are in concussion protocol, which they should be cleared before WrestleMania. But why would you plan that? Like I seen somebody call Stephanie reckless. I don't know if I'd go that far because they did plan the spot. They wanted to be brutal, but it was also planned for the throw her into the TV. So obviously they probably got hurt off the head, but you still had to do the TV spot too. Like Stephanie can't possibly know that it was gonna. Like I don't know if somebody was in the wrong spot or what, but there's really no way Stephanie could have planned for what was gonna happen. But the promo was good. I thought the attack was cool, but then this morning I found out that they was both in concussion protocol, so that's uh, kind of down. Yeah, down on that. Yeah, Seth. His promo was cool. I like Seth's promo. He came back. He was like, "I don't have history with Gunther, so I'm confused on what's going on." But he was really upset. He was like, "Yeah, I can't wait to whoop him at WrestleMania because this don't make sense to me." And then Gunther, he attacked him. Then that led to them. Seth gained a little bit of momentum, so security had to separate them. Then Gunther ran into Paul Heyman in the back, and Paul Heyman, he was confused, and he was like, "You won't be for any longer." No, no. Gunther was like, "You're gonna owe me a favor since I'm decided to do this." So that's gonna be Brock's retirement match, which I'm not mad at, but it's like you could have had some type of deal with them going on instead of making Paul Heyman confused. I didn't like that because it's like Seth and Gunther don't have history, so you're just doing this to get away to get the Brock Lesnar. I'm like, man, okay. And then you have what else is that? Oh, Oscar called out EO. That was whatever. EO got taken out by Jay, so I don't know if that match is happening. That match might be the Raw after WrestleMania, and that match not making WrestleMania. Then the last thing uh, that I wanted to cover, Penta, Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, they defeat El Grande and his Little Americanos. Good match. I enjoyed it. Great. It was a good six-man tag team match. Top line action. All six guys hit their things. Javon Evans, he damn near a luchador himself. He an honorary luchador. So that was all. All six guys just won their thing. I enjoyed it. Obviously, the face team got the win. They got Javon, Penta, and Dragon Lee. Now they are all faces, and they're all in the ladder match at Mania. And then Rey Mysterio, he returned, and then he added himself to the ladder match. I'm like, that's crazy. So he wasn't trying to retire to Gunther. So that's funny. So now Rey Mysterio, he's gonna be in the ladder match. He's been added to it to make it 6 man. I do wish Waller was in there, Grayson Waller, or Kofi, so we could get another heel in the match because there's only two heels, JD and Rusev. Meanwhile, you got the three guys that just teamed up who don't have beef with each other at all. And then you got Ray in there who's also cool with them, which they don't have to have beef. That's fine. But it's like you could have put if you're gonna do four faces, might as well throw three heels in there. So throw Waller a bone and put him in the match. I feel like because he is entertaining to me personally. So I would put him in there, make it a 7-man ladder match, and then maybe that could lead to the Kofi and Waller having a match on the Raw or Clash in Italy or whatever, because you can keep telling that split with them two as it's been building. So yeah, but I give Raw 7 out of 10. I thought last night was a good episode. I just liked a lot of what I saw. It was a few things where it was like, but overall, it was a good episode, and I'm getting hungry. But let's move to the injury report. You had injury report. Where do I start? I'm gonna start with so 3 for the NBA. Well, 2 injuries. Uh, Luca, Luca Doncic and Austin Reeves are now both out for the regular season. Their status is unclear for the playoffs, so that's unfortunate. And like that really sucks. I forget what Lucas is. I know Austin Reeves is oblique, so that's man. Now this sucks as a Lakers fan. Like it's really, I really wish we could have had them at for the playoffs, but we won't. We'll just have LeBron and whoever else, Aiden, Bronny, Smart. Marcus Smart still ain't back yet. But on a positive note for the NBA, Steph just came back. He had 29 points and shot 5 of 10 from 3, and the Warriors probably could have won that game if Pods paid attention to what Draymond was saying. So Steph is back, and he's looking great. Yeah, for the injury report, sometimes I will highlight players who came back as well, not just who is injured. So people who came back too. Like I want to give everybody a shout out. So yeah, Steph, he just came back. He returned, dropped 29 points, 5 of 10 from 3. Didn't look like he missed a beat. So yeah, and apparently the last 2 minutes there was some calls that went the wrong way. So that NBA stopped doing that last 2 minute report. It's very stupid because you can't replay the last 2 minutes. All right, moving on to the NHL. I got 4 injuries for the NHL. All these guys are currently injured, and their teams are in playoff positioning, or you are fighting for a spot in the playoffs. First is Alexander Romanov for the Islanders. He has a shoulder injury, but he started participating in contact drills this week, so he's ramping up to return, hopeful to make a return for the playoffs. Assuming that they are there, I think the Islanders are. I don't know if it's only a few teams that have clinched spots so far, so I'm not sure whether Islanders are. If they've clinched, I don't think so. New York. No, they're still one game out of the playoffs. So they'll get the clinch. And so hopefully, he's starting to ramp up. Hopefully, if the Islanders are in the playoffs, he can make a return for them. The next one is Sam Carrick for the Buffalo the Sabres, who are in the playoffs and will likely finish top 2. So he's dealing with an arm injury, but it is potential for him to come back for the postseason. So it's just potential. So it's not confirmed that he will be able to, but they're very hopeful that he can going into that. And then for the next injury for the Kings, who are where the Kings are just they're barely in the playoffs. They're barely in it. But Andrea Kuzmenko for the Kings, he got a knee injury and has been ruled out for the regular season. I don't know what his playoff status looks like. I think he will miss that first week. But if the Kings can make the playoffs and advance far, then it is potential that they could go and win. Or they can win in that first round. I'm sure he could come back for the second round if that's able to happen. But that's a big if because they still got to make the playoffs first, and he can't play the rest of the regular season. So we're gonna see how all that pans out. And then for the next one, you got Morgan Barron for the Winnipeg Jets, who are out the playoffs, but still hopeful. A few more wins, a few teams to lose, and some high scoring wins at that. They could be in the playoffs, but they're still relying on a lot. And he's out with a lower body injury. He's week to week, so it's not a guarantee. He could come back this week. He could come back in 3 weeks. So week to week, it really just depends. So the next MRI is going to be really crucial for him to determine if he can come back. So, like I said, that's another one where it's just going to depend. This late into the season, obviously you want your guys healthy, but you can't risk their health even further by putting them in a position to get injured even worse. So they're being very cautious with these injuries, taking it a day at a time, taking these week to week. Like I said, some of these guys are all out for the rest of the season. I think the Morgan Barron and um, Alexander Romanoff, I think they could come back before the season ends. Like the last 3 or 4 games, just so they can their footing back, get their footing back, and just get back on the ice. So it's gonna really depend on but if they're out the playoffs by that time, then it's no point to risk it unless they just want to play to get back on the ice and just see how it feels. There's really no need to risk that. But if you're in the playoffs and they do think they're going to return, then it's possible. But some of these, it's just not worth it to risk injuring them even further. Now moving on to wrestling, it's two. It was one for the WWE. Somebody who I mentioned earlier, um, Nikki Bella. She's out with an ankle injury. Hopefully she's clear. She's trying to get cleared for WrestleMania. Brie is fine, but Nikki had rolled her ankle in a match last week. So, either last week or 2 weeks ago, it might have been last Monday. Then the injury was revealed on Friday. So when it was happened on Monday, I didn't think anything of it because I thought she was fine. But because I didn't see it actually. I didn't see it till Friday when they revealed it. So uh, Nikki, she's out. I don't know how long. Hopefully, just till that last week of WrestleMania. Hopefully, she's able to come back very soon and be able to be in the build for the match. Because if she's not, then Bree is pretty much out of it. I don't know what they could do with Bree, unless you make her a special guest referee, and that way you can keep building to the Bellas eventually winning the titles. But it seemed like the Bellas were the clear cut winners. If Nikki can't go, then I don't. Then it becomes a triple threat tag match because I don't know who Brie could replace her with. You bring back Eva Marie. If you know, you know. But you can't do that. I don't see that happening. I mean, you could, but I just don't think it's realistic. So, um, it's looking a bit rough for the Bella twins, but hopefully Nikki is able to get cleared by the end of this week. And speaking of getting cleared, Bobby Lashley has been cleared by AEW and by the doctor, so he returned last week. Him and her syndicate, that was all together, and Lashley let the world know that he was cleared, ready to compete. And her syndicate, a business is booming again. They plan on hurting some people, so we gonna see who gets hurt on AEW. And I'm excited to see them back. I wonder if they'll go after the trios titles or not, because obviously MVP don't wrestle as much. With the trios titles, he could have a title and still not wrestle as much because they don't focus on them anyways. But maybe Lashley and Shelton Benjamin both got their singles titles. Lashley got the world title, maybe. Yeah, they can still do that. I still think it's something there, especially that MJF is world champ once again. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Now moving on to the MLB, the Major League Baseball. It's two injuries which are at this point in the season is kind of significant. But the first one is Sandoval for the Red Sox. He has an elbow injury and his rehab was postponed due to weather because one of their games that got canceled due to bad weather. So that's unfortunate. But early into the season, where the Red Sox they are, did I skip over? Oh, they're 2-8 so far, first 10 games of the season. So they aren't doing good. But having Patrick Sandoval would help a little bit. Wouldn't make a huge difference because I just think the Red Sox are bad. But his elbow, his rehab being postponed is unfortunate. But it just makes sense with the weather. Don't want to do anything that could further hurt him. And not because sports is real life. I'm trying to see. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but you don't want to add no extra injuries by forcing him to drive or bad weather, anything like that. And then meanwhile, another really bad team, I think. Yeah. Well, they're not terrible, but they're four. The Rockies are 4-6. They're not terrible, but Jose Quintanova, Quinova, I might be saying that wrong, but he's out with a hamstring injury, but he is back to catching, so that's a good sign. So he's been able to move his body around a little bit, so he should be coming back soon. Probably not by next week, especially with a hamstring because that takes a minute to deal with. But him being back to catching is a really positive and a great thing to hear for them. They've been solid so far. They're 4-6 on the season so far. So getting him back soon could be really great. I mean, the NL Then once it's the Dodgers, so they're gonna walk away with ease unless something drastic happens. But maybe they can move up to second in that division if they get Jose back soon. So like there's plenty of season left though, so we'll see. And now to the last segment for today. Now talking about the MLV, Major League Volleyball. Can the San Diego Mojo make a playoff push? I'm asking myself this because they've been hot recently, even before All Star break going into it. It's like the San Diego Mojo, they've been doing, and going into All, they were 7-10 at one point. They've won 3 straight games. They're now 10-10 on the season. They've moved up to fourth in the standings in the MLB. So record wise, they're the fourth best team currently. Like a 3 game winning, and this 3 game winning streak was a good winning streak too. It's not like this is some the first the first one was against the Omaha Supernovas, who have struggled this season, but they're still a team that was in the playoffs last year and a team fighting for their playoff hopes this season. They beat them in 4 sets. They beat the Omaha Supernovas in 4 sets, so that's impressive because, like I said, you, every game is important, but winning a game in 4 sets against a team that's in the same position as you, damn near, it's like Omaha's 11-11. They're currently in the playoffs. They're only ahead of the Mojo because they've played 2 more games and they're at 500. They're 500, but they're playing 2 more games, so that's why the Supernovas are ahead of them. But that's going to be crucial when it comes down to tiebreakers later in the season. 'Cause I think they play one more time. I could be wrong, but yeah, that was a good win over Omaha. So once those records are the same, if they get to that point, if they stay 500 and they play like that's a really good momentum win for the Mojo. So that's when the winning streak started. Then you had them taking on the Columbus Fury, who are the worst team in the MLB for back-to-back years, only 5-15, 25 win percentage. But they took care of business. They swept the Columbus Fury. So a sweep, no matter who it's against, is very impressive. If you're taking care of that game in 3 sets, and the Columbus Fury are one of the worst, are the worst team, you're proving why. You're proving why you can be a top team because you're able to take care of business once one of the worst teams. So the next back-to-back wins. And you're thinking, well, oh my, they haven't run the same position. Then Columbus, they just suck. Then the third game that they just won, you beat the Dallas Post in 5 sets. I'm like, whoa. You got to a 2-0 start, going crazy. Got the crowd rocking like you shocking a lot of people, and now people really investing into the MLB. So it's like, oh, MLB fans are really investing into the Mojo. I mean, it's like, oh, can they do it with something? They just beat the Dallas Post that won 3 straight games. Like, what's going on? Like, this was a great win too. This was a statement win for them. This is their third straight win. The Dallas Post, who have been chasing the Indy Ignite for the first seed, it's like they both have 16 wins, but Dallas has 2 more losses. So we got to see. Obviously, it's going to be some more games this week, but winning that in 5 sets, like I said, that's a really impressive win. The Posts are one of the best teams in the league this year. Grace, not Grace, it was some my no Grace. She still had a good game. Uh, Grace Loberg, she was still really good in that game, but you got great production out of everybody. Morgan Lewis, Taylor Sandoval, um, Marley Monterey, Maya Maya Tabron. Like you got great production out of everybody in that game. And it's like you can win. You're currently on a 3 game winning streak. You were just 3 games under 500. You won 3 straight, and now you're back to 500. You're currently sitting at fourth, the last spot in the playoffs. You're getting hot at the right time. This is the right time, man. Great time to be hot. Like it seems like they'll finally figure things out. It seems like the All Star break was much needed for them, and they're taking advantage of it. Like they're winning these games, and these games haven't been easy. Like I said, the Fury game, it was relatively easy sweeping a team. The Omaha game, both of y'all are in the same position, so that's so important. So even though it was 4 sets, it was still a very important game for them to win. And then the Post, you led 2-0, you did let your foot off the gas for a little bit and allowed the Post to come back in it. But I do think that's a testament to just how good the Posts are with Mimi Collier, Natalie Anderson Diaz, Sophie Malonda, Natalie Anderson Valentine or Valentine and Sophie Maladon Diaz. So with them playing as well as they do on a consistent basis, it's like yeah they can go down 2-0 and force any game to go to 5 sets. But for the Mojo, I think it's been really great, but I'm still not sold on if they can win a playoff. Like, can they make the playoffs? Probably. Like, it's not impossible, but it's still not. But it's still possible for them to miss it. Like, you still got Orlando trailing them the reigning champs from last year at 10-11, so they still could get back into it. The Atlanta Vibe, can they string together 4 straight wins? We don't know. The Grand Rapids Rise, I think I'm counting out of it. I don't think they can. I think it's clearly a race. Indy and Dallas clearly gonna finish top two. Then you got Omaha, San Diego, Orlando, and Atlanta. I think those next 4 teams they're gonna be fighting for those last 2 spots. The Fury, they're pretty much out of it. I think mathematically they're still alive, but I don't see them doing nothing. Then the Rise, I know they're still in the hunt actively, but I just don't think they've been consistent enough to get it done, and I just don't see it happening. I think the Fury and Rise, they've both been the bottom 2 teams, not just record wise, but play production. Like, yeah, the Rise just a few games under the Atlanta Vibe, but I feel like the Vibe got more potential to do something. I'm kind of disappointed with the Vibe this year. But back to the Mojo, one there is a few positives that had a third most total attacks, so they're hella aggressive throughout their games. They have the fourth most total aces, which is right in the middle. They also have a fourth most kills per set, which is right in the middle, while leading the MLV in total digs. So they are aggressive. They do get out to good. They have they do play really competitive in their sets. They're not getting a lot of three, not getting swept a lot from what I've seen this year. So it is some positives in these stats, but there you also had negatives, and they're still bottom three in other categories such as blocks, kills, efficiency, and service aces and assists. So the ball rotation isn't as good. You're not getting as many kills as the other teams. So when you are aggressive and you're able and you get a lot of attacks, those attacks aren't paying off with kills. So you should have more kills to show for your total attacks. Efficiency just not good enough. Bottom three in efficiency in an 18 league, it's like that's gonna cost you in the playoffs. And it's like you got your big three of talent, right? Like it's 18 leagues, so everybody has that big three. And so you got Grace Loberg, who has 215 kills, 260 points, 31 blocks, 766 total attacks, and 233 digs. These are MVP caliber stats if the team was to win. If their record wasn't, they're 10-10 on the season. If they were, let's just say they had 15-5, 14-6. These are MVP caliber stats, but the team they're just barely in the playoffs. Like Grace Lober, she's doing really good. She's having a great season. Like this is really impressive what she's doing. And then Marley Monserrat, she's playing well. She has 58 kills, 76 points, 11 blocks, 128 total attacks, 804 assists, and 242 digs. So she's when it comes to getting your assists, when it comes to setting up your teammates, she does a great job of doing that. But nobody else does. You need another really good setter for your team that can set the team up for success and set them up to get more points. So that's just aren't able to do that. And then Maya Tabron, who I praised earlier, 176 kills, 197 points, 14 blocks, 525 total attacks, 183 digs. She's great. So they're a 10-10 team. They have a big three of talent, but it's the others surrounding them that is still like I don't trust it. They are hot right now. I do think going into the playoffs, I don't trust it, but I do think they can ride this wave and make the playoffs. I can see them finishing. Now, obviously, they're not going to win the rest of the games for the season. Maybe they could, but I don't think that's realistic. But I do think they'll make the playoffs. I think um, they can surpass Omaha for the third seed and make the playoffs. But I do think their momentum will be halted in the first round. I don't see them winning their first round matchup if they do make the playoffs. So to answer my question, can the Mojo make a playoff push? I believe they can, but will they win in the playoffs? I don't believe so. So I think they've gotten hot at the right time. I think the wave of momentum continues, but I think it'll be good enough to make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll be winning the playoff game. But if they do, then hey, prove me wrong. Please do it. Like I love to see them prove me wrong to win a playoff game. But time will tell. With that being said, make sure you leave a like on this live, comment, subscribe, share for others to see. And if you're just tuning in now, go back and watch. I'll go back and watch it from the beginning to see all the other stuff I talked about. So yeah, peace out.